You've probably clicked on this video because you're taking the IELTS test quite soon, and you're probably feeling quite nervous about the test. And this is a pretty normal feeling to have in the lead up to your test, and especially before you walk into the speaking test and you speak face to face with the examiner. The problem is that these nerves can massively affect your performance in the speaking test. Sometimes I'll have students that maybe I know from speaking to them for many hours over months of preparation that their English is a very high level. But of course, when they go into the speaking test, the examiner only has between 11 and 14 minutes to give them a band score for their English speaking. This means that often, if a student is feeling very nervous, they don't get the score they really deserve. Their level of English that they have outside of that exam environment is maybe much higher than the way they perform in that situation. So in this video, I really want to give you some ideas that can help you to reduce that feeling of anxiety as you get closer and closer to the day of your test, and hopefully help you to feel more confident so you can show your true level of English. Now, before I give you those ideas that I think should help, I want to tell you a short story about a person I had who was preparing for the IELTS test with me a few years ago. His name was Max, and he was preparing to take the IELTS test so he could study abroad. And he needed to get 6.5 overall, but at least 6 in every part. So at least 6 in the speaking, the listening, the reading, and the writing. And he was doing okay in the reading, writing, and listening. He was easily getting the scores that he needed, but he was having trouble with the speaking. He wasn't getting the score that he needed. He was stuck at around band 5 or 5.5 in the speaking part of the test. But after preparing for the test with him for several months, I could see that his true level of speaking was far above what he was getting in the test. He was really around band 7 to band 8 in his speaking ability. And we kind of discovered that the reason he was underperforming in the speaking test was because he was feeling so nervous. And we had to think about ways to kind of reduce his nerves. And in the end, he was successful, and he did get band 6 in the second to last time he took the test. Now, I say it was the second to last time because he had another test booked just in case he had failed the test that time and not reached the level he needed. Now, he did reach the level he needed, but he had that test booked for 2 weeks after that. Well, he had it booked, so he thought he might as well go and take that test. Now, he had no pressure on him when he took the test the final time. He wasn't worried about the result he got because he already got the band score he needed. And when he went into the test that time, the final time, when he wasn't worried or didn't have that feeling of anxiety or nerves, he got band 8 in the speaking section. Now, I know this sounds pretty unbelievable, but it was this feeling of nervousness that was holding him back. And he was underperforming so much that he could barely get band 6 when he was feeling that pressure. But as soon as that pressure was taken away, he was able to speak calmly and confidently and get a very high band score. It was a jump of 2 whole band scores that he was changing. Now, this is pretty impressive. But it does show us how much your kind of level of confidence or amount of nerves that you have when you're in that test situation can affect your final band score. Of course, the examiner only has about 11 to 14 minutes to decide your level of English. And, well, in this situation with my student, I knew that he had a much higher level of English because I had been preparing with him for the test for several months. So I knew, but the examiner didn't know. And this is in your own situation. When you take the test, the examiner doesn't really know your true level of English. So you have to show them in that short amount of time what your actual level of English is. And if you're very nervous, this is going to hold you back a bit, and you might not be able to get the score that you deserve. So what I want to do now is just give you a few ideas about kind of trying to reduce how nervous you're feeling as you're leading up to the test. And hopefully it can help you to feel more confident so you can really show your true ability in the test. So I'm just going to go through 4 simple ideas that should help you. And the first one is that you need to understand that it's very, very normal to feel nervous before you take the IELTS test. This is a natural feeling to have. Everyone's going to feel a bit nervous before they go and take the test. But it's important that you use this feeling in a positive way. That you try to help that feeling motivate you to prepare for the test more effectively. Try not to let it kind of negatively affect the way that you're preparing for the test or when you're in the test. Don't let it make you panic. Right? You've got to kind of embrace that feeling of anxiety a bit and understand that, well, it's pretty positive that you're feeling that way. It means that you really care about the test and the result that you get, and use that to motivate you to work harder towards your goal. So that's the first thing that should help a bit. Second thing is that you need to prepare as well as you can before you go to the test. The more prepared you are, hopefully the more confident you will be. You need to understand what's going to happen in the test so you don't have any massive surprises when you're in the test. But of course you must understand that, well, you need to expect the unexpected because the examiner is trying to surprise you a little bit with the questions they ask you in the speaking test. But as long as you're well prepared and you've practiced a lot for the speaking part of the test and you've improved your level of English, you should be kind of confident that, well, you've already reached the level you need to be at to get the score you want. And it's just a case of going into the room and showing the examiner your true level of English. Now, if you haven't prepared so well, then you're likely to feel more nervous. So preparation is really the key here. So moving on to the third idea that should help you, it's that you should be positive when you're thinking about the speaking test and when you're actually in the speaking test. You need to be thinking about positive things like, well, when you get the band score you need, what are the things that you're going to be doing in the future? All the things that it's going to be possible for you to do when you get that score, rather than focusing on failing and all the bad things that could happen if you're going to fail. Focus on the positives rather than thinking about the negatives. Try and psych yourself up a little bit before you go into the test. Kind of maybe saying to yourself that you can do it, that you are good enough to get the band score that you need. Telling yourself these positive things before you go into the test can really help you to feel more confident and get rid of those feelings of anxiety. The fourth and final thing is to find ways that you can relax before you take the test. It's important to relax a bit. Yes, it's important to prepare, but it's important that you don't over-prepare and forget to relax. And really, it's important that you find your way that you relax. Now, for some people, they might want to meditate and relax in this way before they take the test. But for some people, that doesn't really work. And I know for me personally, meditation is not something that really works for me. But personally, I like to exercise or go for a run. That really helps me to relax and feel calm and, get rid of any feelings of anxiety. So you need to find ways that help you to relax and try to do that a bit in the lead up to the test. So there we go. Those are just 4 ideas there. And of course, there are other ideas that there may be to kind of reduce the amount of anxiety and nervousness you're feeling in the lead up to the test. But hopefully those things can help you a bit. And the story I told you about my former student Max should help you and maybe motivate you a bit and kind of help you to see the importance of kind of trying to increase your confidence and feeling less nervous when you go into the IELTS speaking test in particular. I hope it helps, and if you have found it useful, then do remember to click the like button, and if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any similar videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.